How exactly is a person's fate determined? This question can essentially be addressed from two perspectives. One pertains to our existence in the human world, encompassing our capabilities, actions, and attitudes toward handling matters which belong to the realm of worldly knowledge. There's already an abundance of motivational rhetoric and books offering guidance on how to conduct ourselves in this aspect, so I will not dwell on it here. I intend to discuss is something far more crucial, aspects that are beyond the reach and visibility of ordinary people, commonly referred to as the underworld, the realm of law, or the spiritual realm. This, in fact, constitutes our foundation. The existence we experience in the human world is merely a manifestation of the power from the spiritual realm, akin to our approach toward medical treatment. From the perspective of an onmyoji, or spiritual practitioner, illnesses are categorized into two types: substantial and insubstantial illnesses. For substantial illnesses, one should straightforwardly seek medical attention from hospitals, which falls outside the purview of an onmyoji. In the case of insubstantial illnesses, it is crucial to first address the underlying insubstantial issues, such as entanglements of power, matters of cause and effect, and issues related to one's lifespan, most of which involve disturbances caused by spiritual debts. Addressing these can pave the way for effective conventional treatment, assuming one avoids incompetent practitioners, leading to a smooth recovery. Thus, when providing medical consultations, we first diagnose the nature of the illness, distinguishing between substantial and insubstantial conditions. Once the insubstantial ailments are resolved, it is advised to seek medical treatment from reputable doctors after a certain period, which significantly improves the prospects for recovery. The same principle applies to one's fate. If you are constantly besieged by spiritual creditors creating obstacles, no amount of hard work in the human realm will prove fruitful. I have clients who, despite years of diligent effort, fail to prosper financially. This not only wastes their time and energy but also tests the limits of human patience. If success remains elusive over years or decades, even the most resilient individuals can become disheartened. Hence, focusing solely on worldly endeavors without understanding the underlying spiritual causes is futile. Consider the Tai Chi symbol, embodying the balance of yin and yang. Ignoring the yin aspect and solely striving in the yang will not yield results. A balance between the two is essential for prosperity. Some individuals rely excessively on the powers of the spiritual realm, resorting to talismans, feng shui, or other spiritual interventions, hoping solely for enhancements from these realms. While such practices can indeed improve one's fortunes by removing spiritual obstacles, neglecting one's duties and efforts in the human world will still lead to lackluster outcomes. True achievement and fate are the results of concerted efforts in both the spiritual and human realms. This brings us to the issue of spiritual debts. Rarely does anyone enter this world free of such debts, with the chances being extremely low, perhaps 1 or 2 in a million. Understanding spiritual debts, which can be categorized into several types to be discussed later, is crucial. The influence of the spiritual realm, including spirits, on our lives is far more extensive than many might imagine. The concept of ghosts is virtually omnipresent in our lives, and it's not merely about certain places being unclean or haunted. For instance, if we worship gods, Buddhas, or immortals at home, can ghosts still enter? Yes, they can. Why can these ghosts enter? It's because as long as they don't intend to harm humans, they are free to go wherever they wish. Some households have door gods, but can they prevent ghosts? Yes, they can. However, you have to leave your house eventually, and once you do, you're no longer under the door god's protection, right? There's also the belief that carrying cinnabar can ward off ghosts. Well, it can. It might also provoke ghosts that should not be provoked. This is because the effect of cinnabar on ghosts is similar to burning them with a red-hot iron. Naturally, they wouldn't be pleased, especially if they had no intention of harming you to begin with. There are many examples of this. Secondly, let's talk about the increase of fortune. The growth of fortune is actually measurable, and selecting the correct, suitable methods for increasing one's fortune can easily yield visible results. Many people practice Buddhism, Taoism, or spiritual cultivation to improve their lives. But to make our lives better, the first step is to eliminate spiritual debts, and the second is to increase fortune. These are the two main, Most effective steps. Eliminating spiritual debts is usually something we cannot do on our own and requires the help of a spiritual practitioner. Increasing fortune involves measuring those intangible yet constantly beneficial forces in our lives. Just like exercising, we wonder about the types of exercises, the duration, and the diet that would enhance muscle growth. Although muscle growth is slow, persistence in these methods will show results over time. If these aspects could be measured, you'd see the right feedback. The most daunting aspect of spiritual practice isn't the unwillingness to practice but questioning whether the practice leads to spiritual improvement or increases fortune, and whether it can change one's family and fate. If the growth of fortune or its transformation into tangible benefits were visible, many more people would be inclined to practice. I've been diligently working on a service that visualizes the growth of fortune. Lastly, let's talk about the soul. Changes in the soul aren't immediately noticeable, but the clarity of our soul, such as our well-being, can be felt right away. For instance, after a few spiritual cleansings or recharging sessions, you'll notice a significant improvement in your mental state, which you can feel in real time. How to change the soul? Our minds are filled with various thoughts. Sometimes, we disdain certain things or get very angry at some people. These reactions stem from bad energies and habits that have contaminated our souls, leading us to behave or think in certain ways. This contamination manifests in different ways. Some people close themselves off. Others become irritable. Some always assume the worst in others. Some are overly suspicious, and some are consumed by greed or obsession. These are all forms of pollution in your soul. Some people are reluctant to approach Buddhist teachings or the study of I Ching, dismissing them as futile superstitions or nonsense. This skepticism prevents you from accessing things that could improve your life. At this point, spiritual cleansing becomes crucial. Many of my clients, influenced by me, have diligently practiced and undergone spiritual cleansing, resulting in significant changes. Some, with a heightened sense of spirituality, can directly communicate with gods and Buddhas during cleansing, while others see visions or feel the presence of divine beings. Spiritual cleansing can quickly remove the negative influences on you. First, it eliminates negative thoughts, making you naturally inclined towards Buddhism or Taoism, towards things that genuinely help. Once you reach a certain level of spiritual awareness, you can physically feel the power of these practices, a sensation absent before this level. This tangible experience of spiritual practice dispels doubts about its effectiveness. As your spiritual sensitivity increases, so does your willingness to learn and make an effort, because all efforts receive positive feedback. As you advance, such as reaching higher spiritual levels, you can explore deeper practices like meditation or astral projection, though the latter may be challenging without reaching the peak of such levels. At higher levels, you can perceive and communicate with spiritual entities, making many invisible forces visible and understandable. For example, when you bless water, you can see the blessing's effect and how it changes the water's properties. This visibility depends on the strength of your spiritual level. Without sufficient sensitivity, questioning the purpose of speaking to water may seem foolish, but it's really about your ability to perceive its presence. That's all for this episode. We'll discuss spiritual debts next time.